99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to Global Review. I did tell you that we're going to be talking about ECOWAS, the Sahel region, and the fight against terrorism. Don't forget, yesterday I had a conversation with a former soldier who gave his perspective as to how we're fighting this so-called war against terror. And it didn't seem like there was a glimmer of hope, even though he did say that if we were indeed serious in fighting this war, we could end it in a year. Yes, he did say that. But today, we're going to be talking about it from the Sahel region perspective. We know that West Africa is at a crossroads. The Sahel region, long a battleground for terror groups like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, is now grappling with a political rupture that could reshape the fight against security around the region. In January, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, three countries facing some of the deadliest insurgencies on the continent, withdrew from ECOWAS. Their reason? A rejection of what they see as external interference and a pivot towards military-led governance. Now, together, they formed a new bloc called the Alliance of the Sahel States. But what does this mean for the regional fight against terrorism? Can ECOWAS still lead security coordination without the Sahel at the table? Are we watching the birth of a new political and military order in West Africa? Or one that threatens the very idea of integration? I mean, we've seen a lot of these things playing out on social media. We're seeing some who are for and some who are against it. But my guest is going to be joining me, Dr. Katch Ononuju. He's going to be joining us to break it down and talk more about what is really fueling this Sahel war. I mean, I think I've had him before while he tried to play back the tape as to what's really at the core of this war. But today we're going to be talking about how we can win this war with Mali and all these other countries not as part of ECOWAS anymore. At this isolatedly fighting the war, but can we say that as Nigeria we can fight that war, West Africa, without having some sort of a synergy with them? My guest is yet to join. I do not know. He's having connection issues. I'm going to try and see if we can get him via telephone. As soon as we do that, we will get straight into the conversation. But we're live, facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. Join the conversation. We would like to hear from you. I'm going to try to get my guest via telephone because I don't think he's able to join us via Zoom. So as soon as I'm able to get him via telephone, he will join us. By the way, I know the connections have been terrible this few days, I must say. I was going in and out of meetings today because my connection was just logging me in and out. But that's a conversation for another day. So Katch Ononuju will join us in a bit and the conversation will move on. Let's take a quick break and hopefully I can get him joining us via telephone, okay? All right, I think we have him by telephone, so we'll just stick to the telephone conversation. Dr. Ononuju, thank you so much for joining us because we're running out of time and we want to just allow you to join us via telephone.
Okay.
Yes, so I know that you and I have had this conversation before about, what is at the core of the insurgency that the Sahel states have been experiencing. But most importantly, I want to talk about the exit of Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger from ECOWAS and how it affects the regional intelligence sharing in fighting, this terrorism that bedevils the Sahel region. Let's start from there.
Well, it's a very simple thing to understand. One, there is a war across the region as a Sahel, and some people figured out the war, and they decided to design a reaction towards a war. And these people who designed the reaction towards the war were also lucky that they got in contact with the state of Russia. The war is basically being aided by some people from the West. Well, the reasons they're doing it are plenty. It could be, as the Americans would normally do, a strategy to undermine the sudden surge in growth in our sub-region. The Russians do not have such intentions, and that's why the Nigerian government seems very lost. The people who have now embraced Russia see this embrace of Russia as a historical event. We have been with the West for over 460 years. What we got from that engagement with the West is slavery, colonialism, and now neocolonialism. This is the reason why the embrace with the Russians is historical. They are not trying to colonize us, as you have seen in states like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. These are people who were considered as people that can be imprisoned by the intentions of the state of France. But because Nigeria is not yet ready to actually break free from the Western colonial entanglement, they have to be left behind. If Nigeria tomorrow agrees to get out of the entanglement with the West, I believe they would then have chance to want to deal with these free African states. What you're seeing is welcomed, and I do welcome it. Nigeria doesn't have a national strategy in combating the Fulani war across West Africa.
Why do you call it a Fulani war?
That's what it is. From in Mali, it is the Fulani against the Okons in central Mali. I traveled there. In Central African Republic, there's the Fulanis against the entire population. We started in 2010. In Nigeria, of course, the Fulanis against everyone else. It's the same thing in Burkina Faso. And people said that it could be that the Fulanis are being used by people in the West to destabilize the region. The Fulanis now pretentiously call it a jihad. If it is jihad, why does it kill the farmers, forcing food security issues across the sub-region? It's a Fulani war. Why are the Fulanis, the people being used by whoever it is? Some people claim to me, Philippine Jamanze tells me it is a war being sponsored by some people in the West to undermine our ability to farm and own the farm crops and the seedling. And I ask, if it is truly that by the Western people, companies like the Archer Daniel Millan Company and all that who seek to own the seedlings, why is it the Fulanis that are being used in Burkina Faso, in Ghana, in Mali, in Mauritania, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Central African Republic, and all the places? And they tell you it is a jihad. It's Islamic fundamentalism. It's not. I can tell you right now, there is nothing like farmer leaders crisis in Nigeria. It is due to the displacement of Fulanis fighting in Central Mali, Burkina Faso, Central Africa, and other places that you now see President Buhari trying to gain land through fraudulent policies like grazing reserve, cow colony, national grazing route program, national cow policy, consolidation of underground water and surface water plus 6 kilometers.
But those who say that strategy was aimed at quelling the unending war or battle between the farmers and the herders.
There was no problem between farmers and herders. They were simply seeking for land. Just look at the Middle Belt, the Benue Valley, the Mambila Plains, the Plateau, They want those places because they have land, they have water, they have humidity, and they have good.
Doc, I'm so sorry. I just want to go on a quick break. I apologize. Just stay with us. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Lagos, we'll be right back.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
All right, class, settle down. Today, let's talk about how you started your day.
We got dressed and had fine cakes with John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for breakfast.
My mom makes John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for us too.
My mom calls it instant goodness. My sister and I always put it inside our pap. It's so yummy.
John Vance 3-in-1 chocolates. The chocolate drink made of rich cocoa, milk, and sugar. Available nationwide in stores. John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate. Enjoy instant goodness.
Okay, so this is your total. Do you need anything else?
Yeah, I would like to pay for the person at the back. In fact, add 1 pack of Malta Guinness.
Guy, I won't give him a number. Why are you paying for me?
I just feel like doing good. I don't need a reason to share goodness.
Goodness is not just an expression, it's a way of life. So share the goodness with someone today.
Bro, one for me too, Abby.
Yes, so 1 cold Malta Guinness for you too.
Malta Guinness. Enjoy a world of good.
What you're about to taste is so hot, it's got basket mouth singing.
Mini Ninja Pepper flavor. Yeah, mini Ninja Pepper flavor. Chris. Heat.
Nothing brings the heat like the bold taste of Mini Me Noodles Niger Pepper flavor. Try it today and see for yourself. Mini Me Noodles Niger Pepper flavor. Slurp it like it's hot.
The kitchen game. There are players and then Agba Ballers. MVP. Player of the year. 10-0. No rival. Become an Agba Baller with the new improved Maggi chicken flavor. Made with a flavorful formation of onions, celery, turmeric to bring out your top game in the kitchen. Elevate the taste of your everyday dishes with delicious rich chicken flavor. Oh yeah, let's go.
New Maggi chicken flavor. My game changer.
This summer, don't just take a break. Live in it at Zebra Beach Resort. Whether it's summer romance, a summer family escape, or that long overdue solo recharge, Zebra is your slice of beachside bliss. Let the kids roam free while you dive into delicious meals, refreshing ocean dips, and those unbeatable breezy vibes. From daily activities for both kids and adults, something for everyone. Just visiting? Don't worry. We've got you covered with our day passes too. Book your summer spot now at zebrabeachresort.com or call 0704-730-0013.
A good education isn't just about what you know, but who you become. At Now University of Nigeria, Abuja, we offer over 100 undergraduate and postgraduate programs designed to shape you into a changemaker the world needs. Apply now at nowuniversity.edu.ng or 0209-623-2188. Now University of Nigeria, beyond degrees.
Madam, I beg, bring 1 cold can of Malta Guinness.
I beg, make am 2. Quick, before driver move.
Oh yeah, take. 1 na 600 naira. So now 1,200 for the 2.
Yes, so Malta Guinness is now 600 naira. Now you get the same refreshing, nourishing, rich premium Malta Guinness for just 600 naira. Available at stores near you. Malta Guinness. Here for every kind of you.
Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Creamer. Oh, where you need to have the break time. Kivo Creamer. It's not tea, papa garita. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
Hey, rewards to the lander! When I buy airtime and data on any network,
I get up to 10% cashback.
I pay my NEPA, DSTV, or StarTimes and call
3% cashback.
Now so, smart cashback, don't they reloaded.
And they load my wallet.
Hey, it's
to Smartcash Cashback Reloaded. Top up airtime or data on any network and get up to 10% cashback, or pay your electricity or cable TV bill and get 3% cashback sharply. Only on Smartcash. No dull yourself. Download the Smartcash app or dial *939# to start today.
Terms and conditions, Deja. Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347*880*3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. During the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347*880*3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lato Trading Services Limited, licensed by Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
I don't know, man. These days, all you hear is save, invest, save, invest. Wait, how do you guys find this money? Is it not someone that is settled that will have money to save and invest? And even if I manage to invest or save, the interest rates are so low. And one can lose money in all these crypto, NFT, blockchain, and so on.
Introducing Fund 724. It's a simple solution to all your money goals. With as low as 1,000 naira or that urgent 2K in your pocket, you can start saving with Fund 724 and earn solid returns on your investment. And you can withdraw your money from your account for free. Anytime you like, just dial *724# on your mobile phone and follow the prompts.
Oh, so no need to download an app or join a long queue.
Dial *724# now to get started. Fund 724 is available 24/7. Guarantee Trust Fund Managers is a subsidiary of Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC and regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This is Hard Facts.
From the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station, this is Hard Facts, and I'm Maryann Okon, and we're talking about the situation in with ECOWAS, the exit of Mali, Burkina Faso, and of course Niger Republic, and how this could affect the fight against insurgency across the Sahel region and, of course, in Nigeria. My guest, Dr. Katch Ononuju, has been with us talking to us about who he thinks is at the core, or what he thinks is at the core of this fight. And he was speaking before we went on that break on Nigeria's position on how to deal with it. Now, I want to take you back quickly, Doctor, just briefly, if you can talk to me about it. Why you think that Russia is a safer loosely here, I'm going to use the word bedmate for these countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, as opposed to the West, dito for France, whom they have kicked out of all of these countries. There are those who would say that Russia is not any better than all of these countries that we refer to as the devil. Albeit that Russia might necessarily be upfront about what the intentions are as opposed to other countries. But why do you think that Russia is better off than any other country in the West?
It's against Russia is either uninformed or an agent of the imperialist West. Russia has not been involved in colonization of Africa. Russia was not involved in slave trade. Russia is also currently not involved in new colonization against the continent. So if for 400 years plus we have dealt with the West and all we got was slavery, colonization, and new colonization, there's nothing wrong in trying something new, and that's the Russians. Because Nigeria and other countries are still tied to the shoestrings of the West, in this case, United States, Britain, and France. They're not safe to be with because they are people who are responsible for the crisis we've had in Africa for over 400 years. So there's nothing wrong in trying Russia, who are not there. What we have today in Africa is a historical opportunity. And so I commend the Alliance of Sahel States for going with Russia. Because Nigeria has a problem because of the way its presidential election went, and President Tinubu's belief that he needs stabilization in dealing with some people in the West. So he's run into the pockets of the French. Of course, the French are very strong, culprits of the crisis in the sub-region. French do not want freedom for African countries. And so it makes sense to run away from them. If you want to solve the security problem in Nigeria, very simple. Talk to Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and other people because they already have properly calibrated responses to the Fulani War. If the Fulani War sustains and it has not bettered in Nigeria, and these countries have been able to find a way to arrest the war, Nigeria doesn't seem to have a strategy. It was shown in Benue when the president went to Benue State. He had to ask a question of, why are there no arrests for the security services to now make arrests in 48 hours? That tells you they know the people causing this crisis, but the state lacks the political will to actually make the arrest. And this is the problem for us. You have an industrial scale genocide ongoing in Nigeria, and the army seems to look the other way. I agree with General Danjuma. Nigerian army collude. I agree with Governor Muftuak of Plateau State that due to the collusion with the Nigerian military, that's why those people who do not speak Nigerian languages but do speak French and Bambara are now occupying Nigerian villages in Plateau State and then changing the names of these villages. Since under Nigerian law, Section 516 says whoever is found in possession of stolen property can be arrested for conspiracy. Go, as the governor said, the lands that have been renamed, arrest the people on those lands, and then let them find those who committed the industrial scale ethnic cleansing to remove the villages of the villages for them not to come sit on the land. It's a very simple issue. So a lot of elements of the present government are still colluding, as General Danjuma said, with the terrorists. The terrorists are not Nigerians. The terrorists are foreigners. Why is the Nigerian state forcing the security services to fold their arms and look the other way? Why does it take the president's asking where are the arrests for arrests to occur in 48 hours? That simply tells you there is collusion. General Tiwa Danjuma is right. There is collusion. So this is the problem. And that simply means that the Nigerian state has not yet devised a strategy to arrest the industrial scale genocide ongoing in Kaduna State, in Plateau State, in Benue, Taraba, and other places across Nigeria.
Okay.
This is the problem.
Okay.
So
I'll come back to this. I want to go back to the ECOWAS. Let's talk about the ECOWAS. With all that has happened, what is the security risk that this disintegration pose for ECOWAS countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire? Can ECOWAS actually still operate any effective regional counter-terrorism mechanism without these three Sahel states? Because they have formed their own and they're standing on their own to do battle with these terrorists. But can ECOWAS actually function, without these three states?
Well, ECOWAS can function pretentiously behaving as if they know what they don't know what they're doing. It is very simple. If you want to arrest the insecurity across the Sahel, cooperate with these states. There's nothing wrong with you having an issue, and there are people who say, look, we want to go address it. We're going to Abuja. We want to go to the government. And those who don't want to, because they probably don't have the political, we say, oh, we sit home. You could see even in the northern states. You see when Buhari died, the Hausas were jubilating in Kanu and Katsina. It tells you the Hausas knew it was Buhari's rule that allowed foreigners to start the ethnic cleansings in Hausa areas. Places in Katsina like Basari, Sapana, Dutsinma, Musa, Kankara. And if you go other places, you'll see even in Maru, Kwatrakwashe, Bungudu, Dangobe, Dansadeo, Bronyo. This is just Hausa land. That's why you saw the Hausas jubilating at the death of Buhari. Because this is the problem. Nigerians, what the problem we have now is you have a young new generation who are now well informed by the provisions of the internet. The capacity of the Nigerian state to use brown envelope journalism to undermine the speak out capacity of the traditional media houses didn't affect the social media that operates through the internet. So we need to be honest to ourselves. The Nigerian government is not there. The Nigerian government is pretentiously playing politics with the lives of these people. That's why you see the government say the fine. If the Afghanization of the security services by Buhari is the reason why security services do not react, people are asking for state police. So if you now go big into the ECOWAS sub-region, those who have embraced Russia are those who believe that the West, France, United States, and Britain are part of the problem. And that's what it is. People will choose the path that avails them advantage. Okay. We have passed the stage of protecting. We now want to be alive. And that's why the split in ECOWAS has become inevitable.
I want to ask one quick question before I bring Lagosians into the conversation, because I have very little time. I have about 10 minutes. Let's talk about democracy versus security dilemma here, because some say that ECOWAS's insistence on democracy may have backfired. Did sanctions and political pressure make these states more vulnerable to isolation and radical partnerships? Also, should the ECOWAS be prioritizing security cooperation first before restoration of democracy in these areas? Because, of course, what sticks out like a sore thumb in these three countries is, of course, the issue of military rule. Now, recently, we saw the Equatorial Guinea vice president accusing France of, plundering Africa and, some of these francophone countries, even though I have my reservations as to how, Equatorial Guinea is being run by father and son, but that's on the one hand. What do you think about ECOWAS's handling of this issue going forward? In 60 seconds, let's see if we can do that.
You have a transition of those who believe they can no more stomach the economic suppression of Africa by what you call colonial masters like France. You try to have people who have been able to build courage and are now transitioning away from where they were to the new place where courage has gotten them to. But you also have the people who, because of lack of courage, are still sitting back and being docile and still smiling, playing the Uncle Tom for the old colonial masters. Yet this is natural in human dealings. It is not everybody that wake up exactly in life, in every community, at 6 o'clock. There are those who wake up at 5. There are even those who wake up at 4:30 and start very early. So, good. Those who have now woken up by 6, even some woke up by 4:30, have started moving. to embrace Russia. Those who are still sleeping to 7 and 8 are the ones who are still stuck with the old Western model of they want to stay where they think is comfortable. And this is natural in life. So those who have now moved, like the 3 states you're talking about, have moved on courageously, protected by Russia. And those who still want to remain at the riverbank, too afraid to put their feet on the water, are still there. This reminds you of the poem, Come to the Edge. It is those who get to the edge that jump that will see the new thing. But those who are afraid of getting to the edge are still stuck in the past. It is as simple as that. There are no issues about forcing these people. But what I tell you, once they have seen that those who have crossed, who have gotten to the edge, Christopher would say, have now progressed. With time, they too will come to the edge.
Okay, all right.
So I believe that's actually what it is. Everybody doesn't need to come to the market at the same time. Those who come early will gain advantage. And those who didn't come early will hear of the advantage gotten by those who came early, and probably they will employ some kind of calibrations and then provide logistics that will take them there. That's how life works. And I believe that is it.
All right.
We'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
I would have loved to ask another question, but I'll leave it till later. I want to open up the phone lines. 0201-277-0993. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. Ononuju is here with us, of course, seemingly in agreement with what the 3 Sahel states have decided to do, go on their own and, build their own security and deal with their own economic issues. Although they have been vilified in the eyes of the world, of course, stories have been for and against their movements in the Sahel region. But then, of course, we're talking about how this affects the security and the fight against terrorism. And the good doctor has given his perspective. I'd like to hear from you. 30 seconds, go straight to the point. 0201 277-0993, 0201-465-7190 for the ladies. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp, 809-597-58505. Let's go. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, action lady. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Doc, I greet Doc. You know, the other day I called you. I said, look, let them call the guy in Burkina Faso. How did he do it? When I said Buhari come to revenge, nobody believed me. Today, where is Buhari? All the whatever, Fulani, all over the place, telling me, allow your neighbor, tolerate your neighbor. El-Rufai then in Kaduna had to settle these guys to stop killing. But all I said, what he said, Doc is saying today. The people, because of the I don't what a blind love they have for the people who are running the affairs of this country, they never see anything wrong. Let them continue. We all are in for it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for calling. 0201-277-0993. 30 seconds, go straight to the point. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, thank you, Maryann.
Yes.
You're doing a great job. God bless you, Dave. Maryann, see, most of this revelation we hear every day. It's not that, thank God for people like you that are helping us to see it more. These people that don't want any good for this country. That's the gospel truth. Maryann, I will tell you the fact. People we have now, they don't have any strategy. They don't have anything good. It's just a carryover. After Buhari finished his worst government that he had for 8 years, he has handed over to another one that is even, I don't know the language I will use now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. 0201-277-0993. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon. You have Yusuf on the line.
Go ahead, Yusuf.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. My question to your guest is that, he made mention about the companies, the Western power that are sponsoring terrorism across the Africa. But my question is that, because it's still money, the money they are using to sponsor the terrorism, why can't they use the money to go through the good way and let everything be fine? Instead of, why can't they pay that money, maybe as in terms of tax or something, form of tax. So instead of using it to sponsor terrorism, because it's still also not cheap to sponsor terrorism also, they still have to buy ammunition so, and all those things. So that's just my question. I'm puzzled. I don't understand why
Thank
they have
you,
to
thank
go
you,
that
Yusuf.
trajectory.
I'll start by I'll answer first, and then the doctor will respond. There is no conflict, crisis, or war that someone doesn't benefit from. Let me paint a clearer picture. For example, Zamfara State that sits on gold. For every time there's a crisis in some community and they kill people and push people away from that land, someone comes in and starts mining gold there. By the way, you're asking why it's expensive to get guns. Yes, it's expensive to get guns, but if I'm able to get a few guns and spend a few thousands of dollars, I'm going to make billions from taking your gold. How come we have gold here, but then Dubai that has no gold goes and, changes the gold into really nice, expensive gold, and you go there and buy. The Swedes also sell this gold. It's interesting, isn't it? So it doesn't, let me say it how they say it on the streets. You spend money to make money. So someone always is benefiting from crisis, from conflicts, and from wars. Maybe, doctor, you'd like to help me here.
Yeah, I can help you. What I would tell you is there's protocols of war. Okay, and we just need to understand that we have issues. Our country is at war right now. If the president and the administration have what we call the political will, of course they will help the country. But when they don't have the political will, then we're in trouble, as it seems to be our issue. So I don't think that anybody should complain. Our problem is purely political.
Okay.
Our leadership lacks the political will to do the right thing.
Okay. All right, let's take another call. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Maria, I greet you.
Good evening.
I greet your guest, Dr. Kashu, Rapid School from Alimosha. Well, I think we're all grown-ups. Most of these are politicians. They are not sincere to their citizens. That is another problem we're having. They are still practicing Tonaro, Until we stop that, we stand on the truth. Then the country will move forward. Look at the other one, the other echo. He say he's been there since 1982. He still wants to be there again. And what impact have we created for his country? I say, Lula. No, we are all just, most of them are living in lies and deceit.
All right.
Until they stop that.
Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you.
I can take one last call before I let the doctor wrap up because our time is fast spent. 30 seconds and we're done. Hello.
Hi, Maryann. Good evening to you and your guest.
Yes, go ahead.
Truth is, can one put an end or nip in the bud, that which is directly or indirectly profiteering from? Except to get intentional people, politicians, or rulers, leaders that are intentional about security. There's nothing they can do about it. If you're getting from a cash cow and that thing is profiteering you are making profit from it, you won't stop it. It's more or less a source of campaign to these people for a bid in re-election. That's just it, simply put. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Doctor, going forward, can the ECOWAS get back to its pride of place? Maybe another day we'll talk about the African Union, which is almost, I don't know. For the ECOWAS, I mean, it's now in the hands of Sierra Leone. Is there any hope for the ECOWAS to be able to build back better? In 30 seconds.
Of course. Yes, it can. It can. It's a matter of will. If tomorrow Nigeria has a better government that is not tied to West, you can see we don't even have hospitals here, as Buhari's experience and that of Tinubu tells us. We don't have hospitals, and they all depend on Western hospitals. When we start trying to depend on ourselves, as is the way with the Alliance of Sahel States, then you say yes, you see people with the courage to act in regards of the intentions of their people, because what we call a democracy is a representative protocol.
All right.
But
Dr.
when you now don't
Doctor, we're
represent
out
the
of
interest
time.
your local people,
I'm so sorry. We're out of time. Dr. Ononuju, thank you so much for being part
No
of the
problem.
conversation.
No
We
problem.
always appreciate you when you come on the show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, Lagos will go on a quick break, and on the other side of the clock, we'll be talking about electoral reforms with the Patriots. Stay with us.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development and the care they need with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics to help your child's digestion.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria